With this video, I'm going to go through the entire lesson of loan payments, and essentially we're going to use a formula to calculate what the loan payment is going to be on any type of loan. And we're going to calculate how you can find out how much interest you're paying on that loan, how much you're going to pay total for that loan, all that kind of stuff. So the big thing though is trying to learn how to use this payment formula to determine what our payments are going to be. So let's bring in what the payment formula is. And this is kind of a big, and it kind of looks like there's a lot to it, but fortunately we were able to plug this all into our calculator and it'll do all the calculations for us. The big thing is just learning the formula. Payment, PMT, is our payment. So once we plug in what's on the right-hand side here, that will tell us what our payment's going to be. A couple things I want to bring to your attention. APR is the interest rate. That's how much you're going to charge. If it's a 7% loan, we're going to convert that to a decimal, so 0.07. N is going to be the number of payments per year, and it's always going to be 12 for everything that we're going to do. So we're just going to type in 12. There are 3 places though for the N, if you notice that. And Y is how long the loan is in years. So if it's a 5-year loan, we're just going to type in 5 here. All right, so let's actually bring in a scenario and let's kind of work through it. It says you want to obtain a 5-year car loan for $10,000 at 7% interest rate. Okay, so now we're going to kind of start filling in what we know. I left all this down here. This is kind of our key. And we're going to start filling in what we know. And we know that the interest rate, or excuse me, the loan amount is $10,000. So that's my P value. So I'm going to write it in right here for P. Okay, that's my 10,000. My APR on this one is 7%. I have to convert that to a decimal. So that's going to be 0.07. And it's going to go right here and on bottom here. There are 2 places here in this formula for my APR. So 0.07 is my APR. N again is a number of payments per year. That's always going to be 12 with what we're going to do. We're doing monthly payments on all this stuff. So we have 3 locations for it. All 3 of those are going to turn into a 12. Notice how this one right here is a negative, okay? If I back up a step here, it was a negative N. So just make sure when you're typing that into your calculator, you have a negative there. Finally, last thing I need is the length of term of the loan in years. And this one is a 5-year loan, so I'm going to fill it in with a 5, I should say. Now notice this is negative 12 times y, so it's going to be negative 12 times 5. Okay, so, and this again kind of looks like a nasty formula, but it's not bad because we're going to plug it into the calculator. And with the calculator, we just need to make sure that, that we definitely have this part here on top and all of this, the entire thing on bottom. If you're using the TI Nspire, it makes it kind of easy. If you're using TI-84, we need to have big parentheses around this one up here and at the very end here, signifying that this entire thing here is on the bottom. But anyway, we plug that into our calculator and ask us to round it to the nearest cent. So the nearest cent here is going to be 1 cent. So it's going to be $198.01. So that's how much my car loan would cost if I did a $10,000 car loan for 5 years at 7% interest. Okay, so I want you to get a little practice on this. So I'm going to throw up the next scenario here. What I want you to do, I've got 2 of them here. I want you to go ahead and plug these into that formula that we just went through and obtain your answer. Now, after you've obtained your answer, come back and push play. That will allow you to check your answer to make sure you got it right. And if you're not sure what it is, then go back, rewind the video just a little bit, and that will tell you what the payment formula is. And then you can try that. So push pause now. After you've obtained your answer, come back and push play. Check your answers here. Okay, remember that the interest rate is, again, we got to convert that to a decimal. A decimal on both of these, so 0.08 here. And then the term of the loan is in years. So we just type in a 3 here for this one. All right, I want you to get a little bit more practice on that. So push pause on the video now. After you've obtained your answer, come back and push play. Okay, and these function just the same. Neither one of these are car loans. This one's an RV loan, which I guess is a form of a vehicle. But anyway, the second one is a computer loan, but all the payments, everything still work out to be the same. Don't let the 7.5 throw you off. If it was 7%, we go 0.07. So 7.5% would be 0.075. Okay, so that's why we just want to make sure we type that in with the 5 on it as well. All right. I want you to go ahead and try this one. Number 2 is a little bit different than what you've done in the past, but at least try number 1. After you've obtained your answer, come back and push play. All right, check your answer on number 1 here. $391.32 is what we're looking for. Now, number 2 says, using what we've got for number 1, what's the total amount that we would end up paying for this? including the interest. That means the principal and the interest, everything. Well, to calculate that, I take my payment, which is $391.32, and I'm going to multiply that by the number of monthly payments that I have, because this is a monthly payment. It's a 5-year loan, and so that means over a 5-year span, I'm going to make 60 payments. 12 payments a year for 5 years is 60 payments. So I'm just going to multiply that by 60 payments. So I've got my loan, or my monthly payment amount times 60 payments gives me my grand total. I'm going to end up paying $23,479.20 total for this boat. Okay, so by the time I calculate my $20,000 I borrowed plus all the interest I paid, that's my $23,000 here. Now what I want you to do is I want you to try this exact same type of problem on the next one. So push pause on the video, then after you obtain both answers, come back and push play. All right, check your answers here. All right, now we're starting to make some progress. The next question I'm going to ask you is going to have both of these. You're going to have to do both of these in it, and I'm going to ask you one more on it. So here's what we've got. It's a 3-parter, so the first 2 parts are just like the one that we just did. Okay, so this one you're going to obtain the payment, of course. The next one you're going to obtain the total amount you would pay. The third one asks you to calculate just the interest. All right, so see if you can work that out. If you can't, no problem, because I can give you a hand with it. But I want you to try at least, I want you to definitely do number 1 and 2, and then try number 3 and see what you get. So push pause on the video now. After you've obtained your answer, come back and push play. Okay, check your answers on numbers 1 and 2. Okay, so once we have these, now the only part that we're missing here is number 3. And to number 3, let's kind of go through this one. We want to find out what the total amount of interest is that we would pay. Well, if $18,402 is the total amount that we would pay, then we have to subtract what our original loan amount was. In this case, it's $15,000. And that would give us the total amount of interest that we would pay on this particular loan. So that's a good way to calculate at least how much interest that you're wasting by getting a loan. I want you to try this one. So push pause on the video now. I want you to work all the way through this one. After you've obtained your answer, come back and push play. Check your answers here. All right, and we're going to do just the same process here. This one was for a laptop, so it's a much smaller loan amount. You end up paying $161 in interest on this one. So on this one here, I want you to, we're going to compare 2 different ones, okay? 2 different car loans to find out which one would pay the least amount of interest on. So we're going to have to do all 3 steps like we did before for both of these 2 scenarios. One scenario here is $11,000 at 8% for 5 years. The other scenario is $11,000 for 7% at 7% for 6 years. Okay, so I want you to calculate both of those and then determine which one of those you pay less interest on. Push pause on the video now. After you've obtained your answer, come back and push play. Well, if we look here, 8% for 5 years, you end up paying $2,382 in interest. On the 6-year loan for 7%, you end up paying $2,502. So this one's a little bit cheaper. So 8% for 5 years is definitely the cheaper option. And I want you to get practice on one more of those. So here are your scenarios. Work through both of these. Find out which one's going to be the cheaper scenario. Then come back and push play. So push pause now. Check your answers. All right, so what I want you to do now is you can start working on the homework. You can go back in and review this video if you'd like. I have some other ones that are very specific to each problem if that helps as well.